The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of February 17 to 21 indicate that Diane Jenkins Abbott will gear up for a shocking reveal, while Kyle Abbott suspects trouble. Phyllis Summers also seems poised to carry out a sabotage plot, so let's talk about what's ahead on Y&R. First, Diane will move forward with her plan to refresh the Abbott mansion. Jack Abbott still has some reservations, but it seems like he's slowly coming around on the idea of changing things up a bit. Diane has promised she just wants some minor changes instead of a major overhaul, so hopefully she'll find the right balance and leave Jack pleased with the revamp results. Over with Summer Newman, she may stir up more tension with Claire Newman through her efforts to pull Kyle closer. Will Kyle catch on and warn Summer to back off? Kyle may sense that Claire's feeling threatened on some level, so we'll see if he intervenes with Summer or at least offers Claire reassurance. One way or another, Kyle may get the feeling that trouble is brewing when it comes to Claire and Summer's strained relationship. Next, Phyllis should make waves for Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra following their Paris trip. It looks like Phyllis' growing feelings for Billy are going to be a problem, so she may sabotage Sally and Billy's romance once they come home. Whether Phyllis wants to admit it or not, she indeed wants Billy for herself deep down. Phyllis' desires could prove disastrous now that she's joining Billy at Abbott Communications, along with Daniel Romalotti Jr. Over with Nate Hastings, he'll do everything in his power to fix things between Damian Kane and Amy Lewis. It'll be quite a challenge, but perhaps Audra Charles could pitch in along the way. That could set the stage for Audra's love triangle with Nate and Damian, depending on how this story plays out. Our predictions point to Audra's life taking some messy turns soon, so stay tuned for updates on all the twists and turns. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the week of February 17 to 21 will deliver some exciting news and plenty of curveballs. We'll have all the terrific Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates you need, so visit us often for more Y&R info. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, February 13, reveal that some Billy Abbott rules could prove they're made to be broken, while Holden Novak sees a familiar face in GC. For starters, Phyllis Summers will decide it's time to put some boundaries in place. Perhaps Daniel Romalotti Jr. will get inside Phyllis' head with all his questions about whether she wants to date Billy. Phyllis might make some rules for herself when it comes to her ex, but she'll break them quickly if that's the case. We know Phyllis will fantasize about a romantic dance with Billy later this week, so she'll let her mind wander into inappropriate territory. In the meantime, Holden will catch up with someone from his past. It turns out there's a lovely lady in Genoa City who's crossed paths with Holden before, so they'll interact on Thursday's Y&R episode. It's possible Holden knows Lily Winters, since our Y&R predictions point to them potentially entering a romance in the not-too-distant future. However, it's also possible that Holden knows Audra Charles and perhaps didn't recognize his old acquaintance at first. Audra has some hidden secrets that'll come to light soon, so maybe it'll finally click for Holden that he remembers her. There have been some reminders about Audra's days as an artist lately, so maybe some past scheming from around that time will come to light. Whatever the case, Lily will also have a run-in with Damian Kane on Thursday's show. Once Lily and Devin Winters get updates on all the latest Damian drama from Nate Hastings, it'll set off some alarm bells. Despite Nate's vow to help Amy Lewis reconnect with her son, Devin and Lily may warn that Damian seems like bad news. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate will work to keep his promise to Amy anyway, but he'll get plenty more pushback from Damian on this. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Thursday, February 13, reveal that some Billy Abbott rules could prove they're made to be broken, while Holden Novak sees a familiar face in GC. For starters, Phyllis Summers will decide it's time to put some boundaries in place. Perhaps Daniel Romalotti Jr. will get inside Phyllis' head with all of his questions about whether she wants to date Billy. Phyllis might make some rules for herself when it comes to her ex, but she'll break them quickly if that's the case. We know Phyllis will fantasize about a romantic dance with Billy later this week, so she'll let her mind wander into inappropriate territory. In the meantime, Holden will catch up with someone from his past. It turns out there's a lovely lady in Genoa City who's crossed paths with Holden before, so they'll interact on Thursday's I and R episode. It's possible Holden knows Lily Winters since our Y and R predictions point to them potentially entering a romance in the not-too-distant future. However, it's also possible that Holden knows Audra Charles and perhaps didn't recognize his old acquaintance at first. Audra has some hidden secrets that'll come to light soon, so maybe it'll finally click for Holden that he remembers her. There have been some reminders about Audra's days as an artist lately, so maybe some past scheming from around that time will come to light. Whatever the case, Lily will also have a run-in with Damian Kane on Thursday's show. Once Lily and Devin Winters get updates on all the latest Damian drama from Nate Hastings, it'll set off some alarm bells. Despite Nate's vow to help Amy Lewis reconnect with her son, Devin and Lily may warn that Damian seems like bad news. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Nate will work to keep his promise to Amy anyway, but he'll get plenty more pushback from Damian on this. Nick paced slowly in the quiet study of the Newman mansion, his mind a storm of questions and unresolved doubts. He had just left a tense conversation with Victor, a conversation that had sown as many seeds of confusion as it had provided answers. The question that gnawed at him, persistent and unyielding, was why Victor had so adamantly prevented Kyle and Summer from being together. What wrong have they done? Nick had demanded, his tone a mixture of indignation and genuine concern. Victor's reply was both candid and chilling. Leaning back in his leather chair, his gaze steeled with the weight of years and decisions made in the shadows of power, Victor had said, "Nick, it isn't as simple as right or wrong. There are layers of responsibility and legacy at stake. Kyle and Summer, as individuals, might appear to have done nothing wrong, but their union threatens more than just personal happiness. It unsettles the delicate balance that must be maintained for the sake of our family's future." Nick's heart had sunk at these words. Deep down, he recognized the logic behind Victor's vision, a vision of control, of safeguarding what he believed was the sanctity and stability of the Newman dynasty. And yet, Nick couldn't ignore the bitter taste of injustice that clung to every syllable. "I can see some truth in your words," Nick admitted hesitantly. "But don't you think you're overstepping? They are adults who should be free to choose their own happiness without being pawns in your grand design." The tension in the room had been palpable, a silent chasm filled with conflicting loyalties and half-spoken regrets. Unable to shake the unsettling blend of agreement and discontent that Victor's words had stirred within him, Nick decided he needed guidance, someone who could see both sides of the coin with clarity. That person was his sister, Victoria. Over the years, Victoria had become the unspoken mediator in the family, tirelessly striving to bridge the ever-widening gap between their father's iron will and the individual desires of those caught in the crossfire. Later that evening, as twilight spilled its soft light over the mansion's corridors, Nick found Victoria in the family parlor. Her face, lined with exhaustion and quiet sorrow, told a story of battles fought not with weapons, but with words and weary compromises. "Victoria," Nick began gently, "I need to talk to you about what Father said today regarding Kyle and Summer. I can't help but feel that while some of his points are valid, his methods leave too much to be desired." Victoria's eyes, usually so steady, flickered with the weight of unspoken burdens. "Nick, I'm tired," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "For years, I've been the bridge between my daughter and father. Every time I try to smooth over the rough edges of their relationship, it only deepens the rift. I'm exhausted from playing the mediator, trying to force a connection between a father who believes he knows what's best and a daughter who just wants to live her life." Her words resonated with a profound melancholy, reflecting not only her personal struggles, but also the cumulative toll of years spent reconciling conflicting worlds. Nick nodded, sharing the unvoiced sentiment that perhaps the family's insistence on upholding legacy was slowly eroding the very bonds they claimed to cherish. "I understand, Victoria. I know you're doing your best, but sometimes I wonder if there's a better way. If perhaps we could let people like Kyle and Summer follow their own path without Father's heavy-handed interference." His tone carried both hope and resignation, a yearning for a simpler time when choices were respected, not dictated. As the siblings' conversation lingered in the quiet air, another chapter of familial discord was unfolding under the same roof, a chapter that affected the youngest among them, Connor, a child caught in the crossfire. Hidden away in the less frequented corners of the sprawling estate, Connor observed the constant tumult between Adam and Chelsea with a heavy heart. Their arguments, which once might have been brushed aside as the clashing voices of passionate lovers, had grown into ceaseless conflicts that cast a dark pall over the household. Connor, wise beyond his tender years, yet painfully aware of his own limitations as a child in the midst of adult strife, felt the sting of loneliness with every harsh word and slammed door. He often recalled the days when laughter filled the halls, when family dinners were a time of shared joy rather than battlegrounds of bitter disputes. Now, every attempt at peace was overshadowed by Adam and Chelsea's incessant bickering, a cacophony that left little room for the innocence and happiness Connor so desperately craved. One evening, as shadows lengthened across the polished floors of the family home, Connor found himself alone with his mother. In the hushed quiet of the kitchen, away from the prying eyes and unyielding expectations of the adults, he mustered the courage to speak his truth. "Mom," he began tentatively, his voice a mere whisper laden with both hope and despair, "do you think we can ever go back to the way things were before all this fighting? Sometimes I feel like Adam should leave. It's too much to bear, watching him and Chelsea tear each other apart all the time." His mother's eyes widened with a mix of surprise and sorrow. She understood all too well the relentless cycle of discord that had enveloped their lives. Yet, she also knew that as much as Connor's plea came from a place of genuine pain, it was not a simple matter of sending someone away. "Connor," she replied softly, "I know you're hurting, but sometimes grown-ups have their own battles that we can't fix just by wishing things were different. It might take time for them to find their way back to peace, if that's even possible." Connor's small frame shuddered with the weight of the unsolvable dilemma. He wished with all his heart for a return to the days of warmth and understanding. Yet, he was painfully aware that the complexities of adult relationships were far beyond his reach. The whispered suggestion that Adam should leave echoed in his mind, a desperate hope for an escape from the relentless storm that had engulfed his once happy home. A family at a crossroads. Back in the quiet study, where the seeds of discord had first been sown that day, Nick's mind reeled with the conflicting truths laid before him. Victor's unwavering belief in his own infallibility had always been a source of both admiration and resentment. Nick remembered a time when family meant unconditional support and unbridled love, not the ceaseless negotiations and silent compromises that now defined their interactions. Yet, despite her exhaustion, Victoria clung to a fragile hope that one day a breakthrough might occur. A moment when the walls of resentment and misunderstanding could finally come down, and the family could embrace a new beginning. As the night deepened, each sibling retreated into their own thoughts, acutely aware that the path to peace was littered with obstacles, both seen and unseen. And then, as if on cue, the voices of the past and present converged in a single haunting refrain: the need for change. The yearning for a return to a time when love outweighed control, and when family meant support rather than submission. Connor's soft plea to his mother, his trembling wish for the restoration of happier days, underscored the painful truth. The cycle of conflict was not confined solely to the realm of adult ambitions and grudges. It was permeating every corner of their lives, touching even the most vulnerable among them. As the mansion stood in the dim glow of the night, the whispers of transformation stirred within each family member. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, February 12th, prove that Sharon won't be forgiven by all. Next on The Young and the Restless, Nick has gone up and down Genoa City, telling all who ask, and many who don't, that Sharon not only isn't responsible for Heather's death, that was Ian and Jordan, but that she shouldn't be blamed for framing Daniel, either. She was being drugged. Yeah, Summer doesn't care. Sharon hurt her brother, and she drove her mother to act even crazier than usual. So when her once and future stepmother reaches out to Summer, Nick's daughter snubs her. Because of Daniel, obviously. It has nothing to do with Sharon being the primary reason why Summer's mommy and daddy aren't together. Which way should I go? Meanwhile, Phyllis is pushing Daniel to work with her for Billy. Sure, Billy has never succeeded with any venture he has ever attempted. Sure, he's planning to take on Victor, and Victor always wins, at everything. Sure, working for your mom is tricky, and working for a mom who has no clue what boundaries mean is even trickier. But despite Phyllis insisting that her son is the absolute best at what he does, Daniel doesn't seem to have any others. So what does he have to lose? Paris on my mind. And while Phyllis and Daniel are thinking about work, Billy is off gallivanting through Paris with Sally. But don't worry, he is totally committed to work building his company and taking down all the Newmans. Oh, what's that? Another baguette? Let's eat it. We can discuss work another time. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, February 12th, promise some interesting plot twists on the horizon in Genoa City. Two lovebirds enjoy some romance in Paris, while someone gets the cold shoulder and a character has a tough decision to make. What's set to unravel during Wednesday's show? Time to find out. Silly's Paris adventure. Sounds like Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra will enjoy a little romance in Paris during Wednesday's show. They talked about a getaway to the City of Love, and it looks like Y and R fans will get a sneak peek of this as the super couple enjoys a little pleasure with Sally's business trip. Sharon Newman gets the cold shoulder. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman will get anything but love when she comes across Summer Newman. Summer and Sharon have never been overly close, but due to their respective relationships with Nick Newman, they've always gotten along and been friendly. Still, with Sharon's erratic behavior some weeks ago, and everything she did to Summer's brother, Daniel Romalotti, she might not be as warm and fuzzy towards Sharon as she used to be. Still, Sharon was targeted by both Jordan and Ian Ward, not to mention drugged, so here's hoping that someone can get through to Summer about this. After all, Sharon was a victim in the ordeal too. Daniel Romalotti's tough decision. Speaking of Daniel, it sounds like he'll have a tough decision to mull through. Is this about working with Billy and his mom, Phyllis Summers at Abbott Communications? Daniel seems very hesitant about joining this team, but at the same time, he really needs a job. So will he push the button on this and say yes? Fans will have to tune in to find out. Are you excited about Wednesday's episode? Join the conversation below. Check out the Y and R on CBS Daily for your fill of Genoa City drama, and visit SOS often for all the best Young and the Restless updates, news, and spoilers. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman needs a heroic redemption. But there's perhaps only one thing that would make Phyllis Summers and Summer Newman forgive her. Of course, Sharon wants to earn Daniel Romalotti Jourdot and Lucy Romalotti's forgiveness as well, but they honestly stand a better chance of coming around on their own. Summer is struggling to move past Sharon's actions despite her remorse, so she could end up being like Phyllis when it comes to holding a permanent grudge. Phyllis has flat out made a prediction about never, ever forgiving Sharon, so it's easy to see why Sharon is feeling discouraged. However, there might be a way for Sharon to make up for framing Daniel and disposing of Heather Stevens' body. If Sharon is ever going to redeem herself in the eyes of Phyllis and her family, she may have to take the huge risk. In a 2025 preview interview with TV Insider, Y&R head writer and executive producer Josh Griffith offered an interesting Phyllis and Sharon hint. Sharon and Phyllis will be thrown into a life-or-death situation where they're both going to have to reevaluate their relationship, Griffith said. It's possible Griffith was referring to all the Ian Ward and Jordan drama, but there's a chance this spoiler hasn't played out yet. After all, there really hasn't been anything that's forced Phyllis and Sharon to reevaluate their relationship at this point. Phyllis still hates Sharon and clashes with her constantly, so nothing has truly changed. Plus, Griffith's clue made it seem like maybe Sharon and Phyllis would get thrown into some danger together. It's possible a redemptive moment is still to come for Sharon, where she potentially saves Phyllis when new danger strikes. Then again, perhaps Sharon could come to Summer or even Harrison Abbott's rescue. We can certainly see Sharon making a split-second decision where she puts her life on the line and prevents an accident as a result. If Sharon can step up and play the hero for Phyllis or someone in her family, that could potentially help wipe the slate clean. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon will hold out hope for forgiveness sooner or later, so stay tuned for updates on any good news that might be headed her way. The Young and the Restless scoop for Wednesday, February 12, reveals Summer Newman hasn't forgiven Sharon Newman. Also coming up, Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott will explore Paris. Plus, Daniel Romalotti will tell Phyllis Summers he's in, and Claire Newman will have questions for Summer about Victor Newman. Y&R spoilers tease Billy and Sally will walk into Ashley Abbott's apartment in Paris. Sally will say she's grateful that Ashley's letting them stay in the guest room, but they'll have the place to themselves as she's in London for some meetings. I&R Daily Scoop: Billy and Sally end up caught in a rainstorm. Billy will have an itinerary planned for them, including a walk along the Seine River and a great little jazz club he knows. However, they'll return to the apartment early, having been caught in a rainstorm. It's all very romantic, and the couple will make love. At Crimson Lights, Summer will walk in and Sharon will apologize for everything she did. "You mean like framing Daniel?" Summer will ask. Sharon will say she doesn't know if there's anything she can say to make her feel better. "You're right," Summer will reply, just as Nick Newman walks in. It's not enough. When Nick walks up and tells his daughter Sharon just wants to make amends, Summer will say she gets it. After all, Faith Newman's her sister, and she's glad Sharon's okay. "But you did lied," she'll add. "You did try to frame Daniel for murder. You did hide bloody towels in his apartment." Summer will also remind Sharon that she lied about Heather Stevens being afraid of Daniel. Sharon will say she understands. She's struggling to forgive herself. Nick will jump to Sharon's defense, and an angry Summer will tell her father not to push her. A tearful Sharon will be upset and excuse herself as she heads to the patio. Nick will follow her, and she'll say she shouldn't be surprised by Summer's reaction. Sharon will tell Nick maybe it's time she paid some kind of penance for the crimes she did commit. Nick will say she should just let time heal the wounds. Then he'll invite her to have breakfast with him at Society. Meanwhile, Claire will arrive at the coffee shop. She'll sit down with Summer and ask if their grandfather ever tried to warn her against Kyle Abbott. Summer will say no, he never did. As they continue to discuss Kyle, Summer will tell Claire that Kyle isn't hopeful Victor will ever accept them together. Young and the Restless scoop: Nick and Sharon spot Daniel and Phyllis. Claire will ask her if he actually said it, and she'll say no, but she senses it. "You know, don't worry too much about everything between you and Kyle," Summer will say as she gets ready to leave. things will work out exactly how they're supposed to. At Society, Daniel will tell Phyllis he's in at working at Abbott Communications. Of course, Phyllis will be thrilled. She'll want to call Billy right away. Isn't he out of town? Daniel will ask. Phyllis will say he is, but he'll want to hear this from her. But Daniel will tell her not to call. He's on a trip with Sally. Phyllis will call anyway, and Billy won't pick up. So she'll leave him a voicemail, saying she has really good news. She'll get perturbed about Sally, and Daniel will ask why she cares. They wouldn't even be together if it weren't for Chelsea and Adam dumping them, she'll reply. I just think Billy deserves better. Daniel will ask if she thinks she'd be better for Billy, and ask if she wants to date him. That's crazy, she'll reply. This is so wrong. So Daniel will say he doesn't think she should be working with someone she might want to be with, and she'll tell him she doesn't want Billy. Finally, Nick and Sharon will walk into Society. Phyllis will see them and sigh. Nick and Sharon will approach and say hello. And as they go over to their table, Phyllis will have some advice for Nick. You might want to check Sharon's pancakes for PCP. The Young and the Restless spoilers recap for Wednesday, February 12, reveals that Summer Newman will make an ominous declaration to Claire Newman, while Phyllis Summers faces a dating quiz. In Paris, Sally Spectra will gush over Ashley Abbott's apartment, since she agreed to let Billy Abbott use it while she was away on business in London. Billy and Sally will try to enjoy some sightseeing, but they'll get caught in a downpour and return to the apartment all wet. Sally and Billy will share some tender moments after they make love and decide they're enjoying the change of plans. At Crimson Lights, Summer will approach Sharon at the counter for coffee and a muffin. That'll lead to Sharon expressing remorse for her part in Daniel Romalotti Jr.'s ordeal. Summer will admit it's not enough, so Nick Newman will pop up and remind his daughter that it wasn't Sharon's fault due to the drugs. However, Summer will need more time to process everything and won't want Nick pushing her on this. Afterward, Sharon will get emotional as she steps into the patio area. Although Sharon will feel like maybe she still needs to do penance for her crimes, Nick will feel like Sharon is suffering enough due to her guilt. Nick will give Sharon another pep talk and insist she wasn't to blame for her actions before taking her to breakfast at Society. Meanwhile, Phyllis will head to Society as well, since Daniel will have some good news. After Daniel decides to give Billy's venture a try, Phyllis will want to call Billy with updates right away. Billy will ignore that call, which won't surprise Daniel since he's in Paris with Sally. After Phyllis downplays it as a business trip, Daniel will argue that it's more than that. Phyllis will rant about Sally not being the right match for Billy, so Daniel will wonder if his mom thinks she's the better match instead. If Phyllis wants to date Billy, Daniel will warn that it's a bad idea for them to go into business with him. On Wednesday's I and R episode, Phyllis will insist that's crazy talk and assure Daniel that she's strictly friends with Billy. Once Nick and Sharon arrive, that'll bring some awkwardness as they greet Daniel and Phyllis at their table. Phyllis will take a jab about checking Sharon's pancakes for PCP, so Sharon's rough morning will continue. Nevertheless, Nick will continue to show his support for Sharon and will get her laughing about the time he made them mimosas with beer. After Sharon and Nick order some proper mimosas off the menu, Phyllis will glare at them toasting together and make another failed call to Billy. Back at the coffee house, Claire will have a tense interaction with Summer, who will play up the wonderful bonding session Harrison Abbott had with both his parents last night. Summer will guess Claire must have been disappointed about the change of plans, but Claire will argue that Kyle Abbott and Victor Newman can join her for dinner another time. Claire will wonder if Victor ever tried to warn Summer away from Kyle, so Summer will admit he didn't. However, Summer will suggest Claire shouldn't take it personally and act like it's a case of bad timing due to Victor's latest issues with the Abbotts. Since Victor isn't known for changing his mind, Summer will suggest she got the feeling that Kyle thinks it's a lost cause. Claire will remain determined to win Victor over, so Summer will tell her to go for it since there's a first time for everything. As Summer prepares to exit, she'll urge Claire not to worry about the Kyle situation and ominously declare that things will work out exactly how they're supposed to. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire and Summer's rivalry could heat up in the coming weeks, so we'll bring you more feud predictions as this storyline moves along. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Sharon Newman just wrapped up an intense storyline that involved Ian Ward tormenting her with Jordan's help. Now Sharon needs to heal from all the psychological trauma and find a way to move on. Nick Newman was obviously a huge help to Sharon during her ordeal, and even now, he continues to be a strong source of support. It's clear that Nick cares about Sharon and always will, but that doesn't necessarily mean this friendship will turn to love again. Nick honestly hasn't given any indication that he's leaning back in a romantic direction. I and our fans should keep open minds about what the future might hold for Sharon's love life. Nick could easily end up being paired with someone else, which would leave Sharon single for another love interest of her own. Could Sharon and Chance Chancellor get another opportunity at a relationship? It's a possibility to consider since I and our spoilers point to Summer Newman chasing after Kyle again before long. Summer's jealousy over Kyle and Claire Newman's connection will lead to her pursuing her ex again, so Chance may have no choice but to let go. At some point, maybe Sharon and Chance could collide for another hot hookup. Sharon might realize that things are going to stay platonic with Nick, and Chance may determine that he's always been a rebound for Summer. Perhaps Sharon and Chance could fall back into bed together as a result. Chance and Sharon could surrender to some mutual comfort and a familiar attraction. Chance once admitted he could see himself falling in love with Sharon, but she wasn't looking for anything serious at the time. Although Sharon struggled to see a future with Chance, a lot has changed since then. After everything Sharon's been through, she might be more open to embracing possibilities and enjoying everything life has to offer. Sharon might realize she was too quick to push Chance away and reconsider when it comes to a new chapter with him. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon will undergo some romantic updates eventually, so stick with us for more predictions on whether Chance might get good news. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, February 12, tease that Sharon Newman is rejected at the same time that Wild Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra get carefree in Paris. About Sally and Billy's getaway, it's a business trip mixed with pleasure. What could go wrong? Silly's Paris trip. Billy and Sally are looking forward to getting away from GC, and a change of scenery will be good for them. Sally understands that she's falling for Billy Boy, and thus far he's been harmless. Even her bestie Chloe Fisher tried to warn her off last week, but Sally would have none of it. Meanwhile, back in snowy Genoa City, Daniel Romalotti must make a decision to go all in with Billy's new venture, or pass. Daniel needs to move forward after the ordeal of Heather Stevens' murder, but is teaming with volatile Billy the best way to do so? What will Daniel decide? Daniel's mom Phyllis Summers plans to get involved in the new venture. If Daniel does, no pressure. Look for Phyllis to talk up the new Abbott communications to Daniel in the hopes of convincing him to join. Elsewhere, her daughter Summer Newman brings the ice to a meetup with her former stepmom Sharon Newman. Why is Summer mad at Sharon? We predict that Sharon tries to apologize for her role in the plot against Summer's family that dead Ian Ward and Jordan pulled her into, even though none of it was her fault, except maybe framing Daniel for the killing and dumping Heather's body into the river. Sharon is sincere, but Summer shuts her down. She is in no mood to hear how sorry Sharon is after what she put them all through. Because Summer has never made a mistake. Hellbent Summer may even indicate that she will never forgive Sharon. And that would be hasty, because in soaps you never know when you're going to need a transplant from your enemy. Remember Adam and Faith Newman. Explosive The Young and the Restless spoilers tease that Sharon won't take no for an answer, and this almost sounds more like a threat than a promise. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that fans have been buzzing with speculation, since actor Nathan Owens hinted that his character has a link to a lady in Genoa City during an interview with Soap Opera Digest. Who could this be, and is it the last person viewers are expecting? Nathan and Audra, fake it till you make it. On the Thursday, February 13 show, Holden will get reacquainted with someone from his past. It looks like the big mystery of who Holden knows in town could be solved very soon. As Holden has met Audra Charles on 2 occasions, many fans have dismissed the idea that she could be the leading lady from his past that Nathan Owens was teasing about. Still, what if this is a plot twist fans aren't expecting? What if the two shared a secret that is so big that they instantly decided to pretend they'd never met while in front of Nate Hastings? Would Audra sacrifice Amy Lewis's need to see her son and the truth to cover up a lie from both her and Nate? After all, when Audra first met Holden, he was introduced to her as Damien, and surely both knew he wasn't who he was claiming to be. Audra would probably continue with a charade, even if she knew Holden was lying about being Damien, if it meant not exposing a secret she's been keeping hidden for a while now. But what is their connection? Is Holden a part of Audra's family? My and our fans have seen a softer side to Audra as of late. She grew up in a toxic and dysfunctional family. Her bond with Amy has grown strong as the lady acts as a mother figure to Audra, something the brunette has yearned for a while now. Audra may be covering up something in her past where Holden is involved, but while viewers may naturally think that she and the man were possibly lovers, what if they were just friends or colleagues? Then again, could they be related? Could Holden be a cousin or potentially a half-brother? Maybe an adopted brother or someone the family fostered? The opportunities are endless. Could Holden have a past connection to Audra? Comment on his milestone below. Check out the Y and R on CBS Daily for your fill of Genoa City drama, and visit this site often for all the best Young and the Restless updates, news, and spoilers. The Young and the Restless spoilers recap for Wednesday, February 12, reveals that Summer Newman will make an ominous declaration to Claire Newman, while Phyllis Summers faces a dating quiz. In Paris, Sally Spectra will gush over Ashley Abbott's apartment, since she agreed to let Billy Abbott use it while she was away on business in London. Billy and Sally will try to enjoy some sightseeing, but they'll get caught in a downpour and return to the apartment all wet. Sally and Billy will share some tender moments after they make love and decide they're enjoying the change of plans. At Crimson Lights, Summer will approach Sharon at the counter for coffee and a muffin. That'll lead to Sharon expressing remorse for her part in Daniel Romalotti Jr.'s ordeal. Summer will admit it's not enough, so Nick Newman will pop up and remind his daughter that it wasn't Sharon's fault due to the drugs. However, Summer will need more time to process everything and won't want Nick pushing her on this. Afterward, Sharon will get emotional as she steps into the patio area. Although Sharon will feel like maybe she still needs to do penance for her crimes, Nick will feel like Sharon is suffering enough due to her guilt. Nick will give Sharon another pep talk and insist she wasn't to blame for her actions before taking her to breakfast at Society. Meanwhile, Phyllis will head to Society as well since Daniel will have some good news. After Daniel decides to give Billy's venture a try, Phyllis will want to call Billy with updates right away. Billy will ignore that call, which won't surprise Daniel since he's in Paris with Sally. After Phyllis downplays it as a business trip, Daniel will argue that it's more than that. Phyllis will rant about Sally not being the right match for Billy, so Daniel will wonder if his mom thinks she's the better match instead. If Phyllis wants to date Billy, Daniel will warn that it's a bad idea for them to go into business with him. On Wednesday's I and R episode, Phyllis will insist that's crazy talk and assure Daniel that she's strictly friends with Billy. Once Nick and Sharon arrive, that'll bring some awkwardness as they greet Daniel and Phyllis at their table. Phyllis will take a jab about checking Sharon's pancakes for PCP, so Sharon's rough morning will continue. Nevertheless, Nick will continue to show his support for Sharon and will get her laughing about the time he made them mimosas with beer. After Sharon and Nick order some proper mimosas off the menu, Phyllis will glare at them toasting together and make another failed call to Billy. Back at the coffee house, Claire will have a tense interaction with Summer, who'll play up the wonderful bonding session Harrison Abbott had with both his parents last night. Summer will guess Claire must have been disappointed about the change of plans, but Claire will argue that Kyle Abbott and Victor Newman can join her for dinner another time. Claire will wonder if Victor ever tried to warn Summer away from Kyle, so Summer will admit he didn't. However, Summer will suggest Claire shouldn't take it personally and act like it's a case of bad timing due to Victor's latest issues with the Abbotts. Since Victor isn't known for changing his mind, Summer will suggest she got the feeling that Kyle thinks it's a lost cause. Claire will remain determined to win Victor over, so Summer will tell her to go for it since there's a first time for everything. As Summer prepares to exit, she'll urge Claire not to worry about the Kyle situation and ominously declare that things will work out exactly how they're supposed to. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Claire and Summer's rivalry could heat up in the coming weeks, so we'll bring you more feud predictions as the storyline moves along. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Claire Newman is upfront. She spoke with her mother after determining that her grandfather opposed her burgeoning relationship with Kyle Abbott. Victoria Newman offered sage advice. Claire decided to visit the new ranch house and speak directly with Victor Newman. Victor didn't pull any punches with Claire. That idiom is a jab at the funny bones of devoted audience members. Along with Braden's character referencing his desire to hit the heavy bag shortly, longtime fans know he is a fighter and values the same in others. Kyle Abbott is weak. Victor telling Claire that the man she's in love with is weak is hard to overcome. But that's precisely what he believes. Like her grandfather, Claire is stubborn and told him that she will keep trying to change his mind. Loathing Kyle's father, Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, is something Claire understands, but she assumes Victor is applying ill will to Kyle simply because he's Jack's son, and that's not true. Kyle stole from his parents, was fired, and then went to work for Glissade, with Victor acknowledging that he exploited the situation for his benefit. Claire responded to his duplicity and should be wary. Claire Newman is strong. The real message Victor is sending his rediscovered granddaughter is that she's strong. He said that the whole world is opening up to her now. Victor prefers that Claire focus on her work at Newman Media with Nikki Newman. But that's not a practical suggestion because Kyle is Claire's first ever boyfriend, romantic connection, significant other, or whatever subjective or trendy term one wants to use to describe their involvement. Claire survived the horror of being stolen at birth. She, Victor, Nikki, Victoria, Nick Newman, and Michael Baldwin recently witnessed the demise of the woman who took her, Jordan Howard. So Victor wants his granddaughter to heal and move forward, rather than involve herself in what he sees as a negative and naive choice. Victor Newman has a lot of nerve. One could believe that Victor is looking out for his family, and he is doing that. But his fabled history of infidelity makes any romantic advice he offers suspect. Victor doesn't want Claire with Kyle for another significant reason. He believes Mueller's character will reconcile with his other granddaughter, Summer Newman. Kyle just told Summer that Claire is unlike any woman he's ever met, which was a disrespectful, possibly honest, point to make. So Victor's prediction might only come true if the seeds of doubt he planted in Claire's mind take root, and she eventually ends it with Kyle. That is Victor's open endgame. It's always exciting when a new member is about to be welcomed into the family, and when it comes to the young and the restless Tracy E. Bregman, well, she's over the moon with anticipation as everyone awaits the birth of her granddaughter. The CBS soap star posted a slew of photos taken from the shower she threw for her son Austin and his wife Antonia, and a few familiar daytime faces were in attendance as well. What a spectacular day showering my son and daughter-in-law for their baby girl to be Isabella Ray. Bregman cheered. To say I'm over the moon would be an understatement. Coming May 1. More. Bold and beautiful actor shares exciting news. Among the guests who were there to celebrate with the actress were her castmates Michelle Stafford and Laura Lee Bell, and from the looks of the photos and videos, it was a day to remember. Being included in all the love in your family was amazing. Belle shared, "Thank you for the most special afternoon. Baby girl is so lucky and so loved," to which Bregman replied, "Thank you for being there. Love you." Others jumped into the comments to send their congrats as well, including Beth Maitland-Tressie, who stated, So beautiful. What an amazing day for you and your family, and all of us who love you send blessings abounding. So wish I had been with you, but what an adventure is about to begin. Love you all." Michael Damian added, "Wowie, so wonderful. Congratulations."